while Captain America 4 and Anthony Mackie are desperately trying to earn at least something at the global box office, a real revolution is unfolding inside Disney and Marvel Studios. Recently, it became known that the management of the Mouse House is officially curtailing its agenda initiatives. The company will drop programs to ensure diversity, equality, and inclusivity. The official Disney website, which covered talent stories from ambiguously represented communities, will close. Moreover, the management will cancel support measures and scholarships for representatives of special groups, instead encouraging only those employees who generate more income. In other words, this is a solemn victory of common sense, which promises us an improvement in the quality of films. In this issue, we will discuss in more detail the impact that such changes will have on the cinematic universe, discuss the quality of upcoming projects, and share interesting insights on the new Spider-Man. Hello, you're watching The Final Cut. Well, let's start with the hot stuff. Recently, it became known that the studio has frozen the development of such series as the new Strange Academy and a project called Torr Incorporated. The latter is based on the comic book series about the anti-hero Torri, who could attach other people's body parts to himself, receiving their memories and abilities. The news caught the community by surprise, as in the long run, Nova and the Academy of Strange were interesting projects about the magical and cosmic sides of the cinematic universe. The second one could have been a worthy alternative to the new Harry Potter series, with elements of very strange cases. Journalists believe that this happened against the background of a reduction in agenda initiatives that could save us from the birth of new acolytes or something even worse. In an article about this, Deadline reports that the series themselves have nothing to do with it. The fact is that Marvel is basically reviewing its approach to TV series, and all past projects have been put on hold. Previously, according to Deadline, it was enough for a series to get the green light from Disney, and it was launched by managers, often middle level, recruiting anyone into the team for reporting. This is how Secret Invasions turned out, where, according to Deadline, even the extremes for failure were not found, because the project was given the green light, and then the managers kicked it among themselves like a soccer ball. Hence, the fabulous budgets of $200 to $300 million for the series. According to insiders, the same Nova project was supposed to be a space adventure in the spirit of The Mandalorian or any other Star Wars universe project. So Disney got out of harm's way and overreacted by pressing the red button and stopping all series in development. Now everything is different, and before approving any project, he must first get a showrunner who will deal only with this project and be responsible for its success. According to Deadline, Disney now wants to see such assembled teams come to the office and compete publicly for the studio to give them a budget. Competition is the key to success, and both serial and cinematic branches of the cinematic universe will develop in this direction. Therefore, there is a feeling that now Disney will focus its resources on developing mundane projects like Daredevil or the second season of Hawkeye. They are not particularly expensive, they are perceived separately from the events of the Avengers, and they contrast perfectly with the multi-million-dollar blockbusters, their comfort and low stakes. The sequel to Daredevil claims to be the series of the year, so turn on the bells. The analysis of the first episodes will go right after the premiere on March 4th. Also, it should not be ruled out that the new and Strange Academy will still see the light, but after the reboot with new teams and strategy. And perhaps the projects will turn into canonical animated series altogether. The Commando monsters from the DC Cinematic Universe have proven that this approach has a place to be. And James Gunn has already made it clear that a second season is just around the corner. Studios often steal each other's ideas, and Marvel may adopt Gunn's approach. Rumors about this have been going around for a long time. And after the failures, what if God himself asks the new Spider-Man not to curtail the canon, and to make cartoons a little, but qualitatively and within the framework of the cinematic universe? It's the same with live TV shows, and there's great news here. Simultaneously with the cancellation of the project, rumors surfaced in the old era that a new, rebooted Marvel was already working on the X-Men Academy series, a project about young mutants living at Professor Xavier's school. The series is being considered an addition to the upcoming X-Men relaunch, and, to be honest, it sounds great. However, the sources vary in details, and some people are talking about a prequel series, some about a spin-off, and others about a series that will be released after the feature film. But everyone agrees that the porridge of young mutants is being cooked in Marvel's pot, which is good news. After all, the process of educating people is just the kind of thing that none of the franchise restarts have shown. There were hints, but this is exactly the field where the series will look fresh and interesting. And again, the imminent release of the Harry Potter series will give rise to a wave of projects about children in schools, and it would be logical for Marvel to attach its carriage to the hype train. Now let's move on to canceling the Marvel subpoena. As expected, the news was well received because it further strengthens the belief that the producers have realized the mistakes of the past years and will now think primarily about quality and returning to the roots. The first bells about the change of direction of the studio appeared even when producer Victoria Alonso was fired in March of the 23rd. The very period when Quantumania failed, Jonathan Majors came under investigation and, in general, gloomy uncertainty reigned around the cinematic universe. According to official data, the dismissal occurred due to some kind of violation of the contract, which obliges the producer not to participate in the development of projects for other companies. But insiders claim that this was just a beautiful excuse to write off an inconvenient employee for questionable creative decisions. If you dig into the interview, it was Elon who co-promoted a minority in projects of various kinds, actively supported diversity in casts and film crews, and generally focused not on the plot, but on representation. Therefore, we are sure that it was then, almost 2 years ago, that the Marvel soft reboot began. The studio has been pulling itself together for a long time, and is trying to rehabilitate itself by working on its reputation. The current news is just a logical result of long-standing problems. But what happens next? The first and most important thing is casting. The community should worry less that Cardi B will be cast as Professor X. There are already rumors that for the new version of the X-Men, the studio is considering Margaret Qualley for the role of Rogue, Julia Butters for Kitty Pryde, Sadie Singh for Jean Grey, and so on. That is, the producers deliberately rely on recognizable faces, excluding unnecessary experiments. And looking at the Fantastic Four as well as the positive fan reaction, we can conclude that this is not an accident, but a natural result of the Marvel reboot back in the 23rd. Only the best will come next, so we can see Henry Cavill as Wolverine and Tom Hardy, who openly asked to join the film universe in an interview after Venom 3. Previously, Marvel avoided this because popular actors are both a big fee and a headache due to script approvals, but now special projects with stars of the first magnitude are also possible. The next positive change is the reduction in the number of projects like Hulk Woman, Miss Marvel, and Echo. You can spend hours telling how these copies caused huge reputational damage to the studio, but it is important for us that the authors can stop making walking caricatures of female characters with a strong and independent character. This does not mean that the studio should not make films about female characters. The same Scarlet Witch can be given a chance, remembering the rich background and acting skills of Olsen herself. But there will definitely be fewer excesses. Jokes about men over 200 and other joys of life. By the way, do you remember that very scene of the women's gathering in the finale of the fourth Avengers? The moment became so absurd and strange that it was even joked about by the authors of the Boys series. Therefore, there should be fewer such scenes in the new parts. The only thing that raises concerns is Spider-Man 4. The project is being developed in collaboration with Sony Pictures, which has not yet been cleansed from the failure of Madam Web. It's not entirely clear in which direction they are moving, but there is a feeling that Sony doesn't control anything there at all, leaving everything at the mercy of Kevin Feige. Therefore, in the fourth film, we will most likely be presented with a less politically correct environment of the hero, and even perhaps the canonical Harry Osborn, who instead of Ned, will become Peter's new best friend. Do not forget about the rumors that the role of Zendaya will be significantly reduced in the new film, so the studio can choose both Black Cat and Gwen as a new love interest. The main thing is to make it look justified in the plot plan, but perhaps most importantly, these are real signs that the authors of future Marvel projects are now thinking primarily about quality, a normal script, and decent special effects, rather than trying to close the bingo given to them by the representation department. This is very useful because the mutant saga is on the nose, and it would be better to do it efficiently from the very beginning, so as not to extinguish fires and not to arrange reboots. The audience will forgive one of them, provided they have a good doomsday. But a couple more failed phases and Marvel will be able to become popular again, only in the case of a total restart of the universe with new people. The downside is that we still have to go through projects like Ironheart, Wonder Man, and The Eye of Wakanda. But, as in the case of Captain America 4, the situation should be treated with understanding, since they were not created in the best era. Therefore, we will feel real changes only with the release of Thunderbolts with an asterisk, Fantastic Four, and the projects of the 26th year. That's it for us. Write in the comments how you feel about the freezing of the series Academy of Strange and Nova. Do you believe that the quality of projects will be higher given the reduced agenda? And which of the popular actors would you like to see in the cast of the new X-Men? See you soon, friends!